looks like the WNBA are preparing for a lockout.
These athletes you have now are ready for a lockout.
WNBA versus
WNBA Players Association meet face to face
for CBA negotiations,
including Fever star Caitlyn Clark. This is a very important time for our league.
This is starting to look grim.
The WNBA is teetering on the brink of a historic meltdown. The CBA talks have fallen apart.
It just continues to kick this can down the road.
Emotions are running high, and now a player strike is looming. Right in the middle of this chaos, Caitlyn Clark.
They're playing the Caitlyn Clark card. She has the leverage. The players don't, she does. Caitlyn Clark is the needle mover.
The rookie sensation who's practically keeping the league afloat. She attended the meeting, held her ground, but not even her influence could stop what's unfolding.
So the WNBPA has chosen to opt out of the current CBA. Things have not been looking super positive.
If you're with Caitlyn Clark and believe she's earned more respect, hit the comments with a 100% right now.
You're rocking with Caitlyn. The star power that is Caitlyn Clark.
The WNBA is facing its most critical negotiation breakdown in years.
They need to reach a new CBA by October the 31st, or it could lead to a work stoppage.
With the October 31st deadline looming, talks between players and league officials have completely stalled.
So the WNBPA has chosen to opt out of the current CBA.
And the fallout could be massive.
The WNBA and its players are less than 4 months away from the October 31 expiration date of their current collective bargaining agreements.
At the center of this standoff is the collective bargaining agreement, the document that outlines everything from salaries and revenue distribution.
The WNBPA submitted numerous proposals. The WNBA finally countered with an offer that many players said they staunchly disapproved of because of its fixed salary cap structure.
To travel policies and roster structure. For months, players have pushed for a groundbreaking deal. Not incremental upgrades or hollow promises, but deep structural reforms that reflect the league's explosive growth. Their demands aren't radical. They're rooted in fairness. The players are calling for a revamped revenue sharing system that ensures they earn a genuine cut of what they help generate.
Salary and revenue sharing. Players are pushing for higher salaries, especially with the league's new media rights deal and a greater share of the league's revenue. That probably means like getting something from their jersey sales, as they don't get like a penny from anything that their names are on, which I do see some validity to this. Guaranteed charter travel, roster size, and developmental spots.
Substantial salary increases across the board. Guaranteed charter flights. A major sticking point, especially for a league where athletes are still flying commercial. Larger rosters and development spots to combat burnout and reduce injury risk. But rather than meet them halfway, the WNBA came back with what many players described as a slap in the face.
We can focus on our players. In the union, we got a proposal from the league, which was honestly a slap in the face.
Players received a counter proposal last month that left them unimpressed.
The league's offer? A stagnant salary cap structure that ignores how rapidly revenue is rising.
They want a better revenue sharing model, increase salaries, improve benefits, and a softer salary cap.
Nearly every major concern raised by players was brushed aside. That's when everything escalated. More than 40 players, from all-stars to veterans to team reps, came together in Indianapolis during All-Star Weekend.
The WNBA CBA negotiations loom as a topic of conversation as well. There was the big meeting.
For a crucial face-to-face meeting. It marked the largest gathering in the players' union history during a CBA fight. But perhaps the most notable figure there wasn't a union leader or longtime vet. It was Caitlyn Clark.
Caitlyn Clark is stepping up to the plate. She is going to have a role at the CBA talks.
We know who was in the room. Caitlyn was in the room. Angel was in the room. We're going to get into that.
Many of the players were in attendance, including Caitlyn Clark.
Multiple players have said they will attend Thursday's meeting, including Fever star Caitlyn Clark.
Despite being a rookie with no formal role in the negotiations, Caitlyn attended. She didn't need to.
They did ask Caitlyn Clark to join the meeting, of which she did today in Indianapolis.
But she knew what was at stake. She said, "It's a very important time for our league and where it's going to grow. I'm looking forward to these meetings and being in them." Even without a vote, she realized her presence mattered.
She felt it was important to attend the meetings Despite not being a team rep, it only being her second season.
Still, even with the sport's most talked about name in attendance, progress was minimal. The talks ran nearly an hour longer than planned.
The meeting actually went a lot longer than it was supposed to.
Yet players left feeling ignored and insulted. The union's post-meeting statement pulled no punches. The WNBA's response fails to address the priorities we voiced from the day we opted out. The business is booming, but shortchanging the working women who make this possible stalls growth. And that booming business, it's real. Media coverage, attendance, ticket demand, and team values are all surging. New franchises are entering with $250 million ownership bids. TV rights deals are rumored to be worth $2.2 billion. Despite all that, players still feel sidelined.
Players are bracing for a potential work stoppage as negotiations have gone slowly.
And unless something changes, this could end in disaster. A strike or lockout, for the first time in league history, is now on the table. The last time negotiations hit a wall like this was back in 2003, and that only postponed the draft. This time, the entire season is at risk, and that October 31st deadline, it's a firm line. No deal by then means players can walk, games can be scrapped, and expansion efforts could collapse.
We will not stop until we achieve the transformational CBA this moment demand.
Even more troubling, this crisis is unfolding during the most high-profile and lucrative stretch in WNBA history. A moment that, let's be honest, wouldn't exist without Caitlyn Clark. Yet she's already being tasked with fixing a mess she didn't cause. That's where we stand. The WNBA had momentum. The players showed up. Caitlyn stepped in. But the league, they completely fumbled the moment.
With the league's most recent proposal, which resembled a similar revenue sharing system that's included in the current CBA.
This business is booming. Media rights, ratings, revenue, team valuations, expansion fees, attendance, and ticket sales are all up in historic fashion. But the shortchanging the working woman who make the business possible stalls growth.
When it comes to the WNBA's fight for its future, one thing is becoming undeniable. Caitlyn Clark is no longer just a rookie. She's the league's biggest draw, loudest voice, and possibly its final shot at meaningful change. Let's be real. Women's basketball hasn't been the same since Caitlyn Clark stepped onto a WNBA court. She didn't just bring elite scoring and highlight reel assists. She brought millions of new fans, national spotlight, and a tidal wave of revenue.
We can't lie, I wouldn't be here making these videos. Caitlyn Clark has brought all of us to this point right now. Whether we are avid viewers or avid consumers of the product, and that is a positive thing.
Before she arrived, a typical WNBA game might attract 400,000 viewers. But with Caitlyn on the court,
Ion Network just set an all-time record with 1.5 million viewers. I think when the season started last year, it was like 400,000.
One game aired on Ion broke records with 1.5 million viewers. And this is just her first year. She's already dominating jersey sales, filling arenas in every city she visits.
Is one of the key catalysts behind the league's recent surge in popularity.
And her influence online, combined with her legendary college career, makes her the most impactful player in all of women's basketball today. Not just in the WNBA, period. Still, when it came to negotiations, Caitlyn wasn't a leading voice. She didn't hold a union role or a committee seat. She wasn't supposed to be there, but she showed up anyway, because she understands what the league might still be avoiding. Without Caitlyn Clark, there is no surge. Without Caitlyn Clark, this whole negotiation falls apart. It's not ego. It's just the truth. Even major media outlets are saying it plainly. The WNBA is playing the Caitlyn Clark card.
They're playing the Caitlyn Clark card, throwing in the Caitlyn Clark trump card.
She wasn't originally part of the plan. They didn't want her steering the conversation, but now they need her.
They probably don't particularly want Caitlyn Clark to be there, but they know they need it. They know they need it. Like, they know that probably their best chance of not getting a lockout is Caitlyn Clark.
Badly. Just like a struggling team calls on its superstar to turn things around. The Players Association knows Caitlyn is their ace. She wasn't their go-to from the start, maybe not even their backup. But with the stakes this high, They know she's the one who can actually move the needle.
We have significantly more negotiating power if you end up being there.
And it's not just about popularity, it's about power. Many players bring talent, passion, and commitment, but few carry media and financial weight. Caitlyn does.
She has the leverage. The players don't, she does.
Her presence drives sales. Her name headlines broadcasts. Her image fuels sponsorships, viewership, and league-wide attention. This isn't speculation, it's fact. The WNBA just secured a historic $2.2 billion media rights deal. And let's be honest, that didn't happen by coincidence. It happened because Caitlyn Clark exists.
Media rights. Adam Silver gave you that rights deal because Caitlyn Clark showed up.
It's not some sudden burst in general interest. It's her. She's the reason networks are throwing down big money. She's the reason teams are seeing massive valuation spikes. And now she's sitting in a room hearing league officials say it's not the right time to discuss revenue sharing.
With Caitlyn Clark not playing, that doesn't do anything for the owners.
Seriously. Even while injured during All-Star Weekend, Caitlyn commanded the spotlight. She didn't play, didn't shoot in the contest, but still had the cameras, the crowd, and the buzz. Her replacement in the three-point contest was treated like a stand-in tribute. So when Caitlyn sat quietly in that CBA meeting, not speaking loudly but still being present, the message was unmistakable. I may be new, but I'm not naive, and I won't sit quietly while this league risks everything. It's almost cruel how ironic this has become.
With Caitlyn Clark not playing, that doesn't do anything for the owners.
The same league that's been riding the Caitlyn Clark wave, using her name on every flyer, promo, and replay, is now unwilling to invest in the very players who built the momentum. And Caitlyn? She's not even doing this for herself. She's already made it. She's already racked up millions in endorsements with Nike, State Farm, and Gatorade.
Yet the league is still losing money. So what profit are we talking about?
She doesn't need this fight, but she's in it anyway, for the rest of the league. That's what leadership looks like. That's why teammates back her, why veterans rely on her, why fans are locked in, because they recognize something rare. Caitlyn Clark is using her spotlight not to shine alone, but to protect everyone under it. And that's what separates great players from icons. She's not just carrying the Indiana fever. She's lifting the entire WNBA. And in this negotiation, her voice might be the only one loud enough to force real change. She's not an executive, not a union official, not even a voting rep, but she's the heartbeat of the league. And if the WNBA wants to make it through this crisis intact, they better wake up fast. Because Caitlyn Clark isn't the problem. She's the solution.
Caitlyn Clark should have been involved in every one of these talks from the get-go.
The WNBA is staring down the most serious labor crisis in its history.
That players have been talking about a potential lockout. It just does not look like smooth sailing for these meetings.
What began as routine CBA discussions has now turned into a high-stakes standoff. Emotions are boiling over, the clock is ticking, and the October 31st deadline looms like a warning siren. This isn't just about contracts anymore. It's about being valued. It's about being heard. And ultimately, it's about survival. Here's where things stand. The players have drawn their line. If there's no new collective bargaining agreement by the deadline, they're ready to walk.
If things are not resolved by then there will be a work stoppage where the WNBA players just stop playing.
That means a full-blown strike, possibly timed with or right after the playoffs. And if that happens, the WNBA could be forced to cancel games, pause expansion plans, and jeopardize the very momentum it's built over the past 2 years. You might be wondering, how did things escalate this far? The answer is simple. The players have had enough. Enough of being underpaid while league profits soar. Enough of cramped commercial flights while media deals roll in by the millions. Enough of being pushed to perform at the highest level while being denied basic professional conditions.
Courtney Williams was in the meeting, but Courtney Williams did get out of that meeting and she seemed quite overwhelmed. This is basically Courtney Williams has just exited the CBA meeting.
Bro, that CBA meeting is so much information, bro.
You good? I'm glad you went though, friend. Thank you.
Thank
you for representing us.
I definitely had to represent.
I wanted to go, but you know I had to hold it down for us.
You had to hold down the stream. But just being in there, oh my goodness, bro. It was like, it's just so much that come into play. I gotta go get my energy back right and hyped up for the weekend again, cause exactly.
And in the middle of this storm is Caitlyn Clark. She didn't cause this. She didn't ask to be the face of a labor fight. But now, she's in it. And she might be the only person who can shift the balance. Make no mistake, the tension is real. When players like Angel Reese and Courtney Williams left the last meeting visibly shaken, it wasn't from a shouting match. It was because the gap between what players need and what the league is offering remains staggering. The players are demanding real change. Revenue sharing tied directly to the business they're building. Expanded rosters and development slots to prevent injuries and overuse. Charter flights so they can recover properly and perform at their best. Higher salary caps to let teams pay their stars what they're worth.
$250 million expansion fees paid by each of the new ownership groups in Cleveland, Detroit, Philadelphia, coupled with a new 11-year media rights deal valued at $2.2 billion.
The league's counter? A rigid salary cap and modest pay bumps that don't reflect the billions being generated. And here's the disconnect. The WNBA just secured a $2.2 billion media deal. New franchises are buying in at $250 million apiece. Ratings are up more than 200% in major markets, yet many players still make less than what G League athletes earn. The union's message couldn't be louder. The business is booming.
It's my second year in the league, but also it's a very important time for our league and where it's going to continue to grow. If there's not a new CBA by 31st of October, players could strike or be locked out by the owners.
If they don't find a way to work through that deadline, then the players would do an actual walkout.
But the women powering it are still being shortchanged. And Caitlyn Clark, she is the face of that boom and the symbol of everything the league is getting wrong. She's packing arenas, driving merchandise sales, and pulling millions of viewers to games. But she earns a base salary just north of $76,000 while delivering millions in value to her team and the league. Sure, she's bringing in millions from endorsements, Nike, Gatorade, State Farm. But within the WNBA system, she's just as underpaid as everyone else. And that's what makes this moment so dangerous. If players strike, the momentum grinds to a halt. And that momentum, that's everything right now. The league has finally captured the spotlight. New fans are engaged. Money is flowing. Teams are growing. But all of that can vanish in an instant. One work stoppage, and suddenly, TV partners back off. Potential franchise owners get cold feet. Sponsors pull the plug. And the league's fragile relationship with its expanding fan base crumbles. And who takes the fall? Not the league office. Not the executives cashing in on media deals. Not ownership.
WNBA Players Association meet face to face
for CBA negotiations. Many of the players were in attendance, including Caitlyn Clark.
This is starting to look grim.
They're playing the Caitlyn Clark card. She has the leverage. The players don't, she does. Looks like the WNBA are preparing for a lockout. Players are bracing for a potential work stoppage. Caitlyn Clark is the needle mover.
It just continues to kick this can down the road, heading toward a WNBA lockout.
The players will face the backlash. And because she's the most recognizable face in the league, Caitlyn Clark will bear the brunt of it. That's why her presence in these talks is so important. Even if she's not leading the charge, she embodies the league's future. And if she's frustrated or disrespected, she has options the league can't afford to consider. There are international leagues, especially in Europe and Asia, that pay far more. There are off-season showcases, private leagues, and brand-sponsored events that would pay Caitlyn more for one appearance than she earns from the WNBA in a year. So here's the nightmare scenario. What if Caitlyn Clark walks away? What if she skips a season? What if the face of the league decides the system isn't worth staying in?
The league might be thinking, hey, listen, if she goes out with injury, then what happens?
Let's make sure Caitlyn Clark is still playing in the league and you guys haven't run her out by then.
Especially with Caitlyn Clark having gotten injured 2 days before, I think that was a lot harder for the players to walk in and hold a lot of leverage.
Let's be blunt. That would be devastating. This isn't a knock on the rest of the league. It's reality. Caitlyn Clark isn't just a rising star. She's the reason millions of casual fans started watching. She's why media coverage exploded, why merchandise is flying off the shelves, why investors suddenly care. And yet, even with all of that, the league still hasn't offered a deal the players believe in. There's a quote that sums up this exact moment. The only thing more unsustainable than the current system is pretending it can go on forever. That's where we are. If something doesn't shift soon, the WNBA and its players are headed for a cliff. And as powerful as Caitlyn Clark is, she can't stop the fall by herself. But she's trying. She's showing up. She's speaking out. She's standing shoulder to shoulder with her teammates. Not because it benefits her, but because it's the right thing to do. This is the turning point. Whether it ends in a strike, a lockout, or a breakthrough, the future of the WNBA is being shaped right now. And Caitlyn Clark is standing at the center of it.
Fails to address the priorities we voiced from the day we opted out, a transformational CBA that delivers our rightful share of business that we've built, improving working conditions, and ensures the success we create lifts both today's players and the generation that follow. We've told the league and teams exactly why their proposal falls so short. This business is booming, and we will not stop until we achieve the transformational CBA this moment demands.
The WNBA is facing pressure like never before. Negotiations are unraveling, a strike is on the horizon, and the league's brightest star, the very reason it's even on this stage, is standing at the heart of the storm, doing everything she can to stop the system from falling apart. Caitlyn Clark didn't create this crisis, but she's giving everything to help fix it.
She brings eyes to the game so that the next generation can come out and thrive. Just a dynamic player, just exciting to watch. The fans eat it right up.
We're with you 100%, CC.
Not for personal gain, but for every player who's ever been forced onto a commercial flight before a back-to-back. For every rookie grinding for a roster spot. For every fan who finally believed this league could be something greater. She's doing her job. Now it's the league's turn to step up. Because if the WNBA keeps ignoring the signs, if they let this opportunity slip, they won't just lose players. They'll lose trust. They'll lose progress. And worst of all, they could lose Caitlyn Clark. So the real question isn't, will there be a strike? The question is, will the league open its eyes before everything slips away? If you believe Caitlyn Clark deserves better, if you stand with the players, and if you want to see the WNBA thrive, not collapse, type 100% in the comments. Let your voice be part of the movement, because history is unfolding right now. And Caitlyn Clark, she's right at the center of it.